Smuggler, our third year in the row here, the man in the mask. I remember a couple of years ago we talked about, it might not give you perfect privacy, but it's a symbol that we should have privacy. We should have this option. This is even coming back into the media recently. Hong Kong's having a major mask problem, and it's getting worse. The police are actually tracking and looking for people with masks. There's a possibility they might make masks illegal, which I've heard might have led to a revolution in Ukraine or maybe another country. I might be getting it wrong. But how are things going with the mask and with the idea of privacy?
Well, I think that the idea of privacy is becoming a little bit more fashionable the last years.
Yes.
Without fashion becoming more privacy aware, but that's a different issue. Yeah, I kind of like the masks being banned in Hong Kong thing, not because of the banning, but it just shows that the technology works, you know. So why ban it if it wouldn't be effective, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, people, let's be in solidarity with the people in Hong Kong and wear masks everywhere all the time.
And it would change things because we're going to have more and more problems with facial recognition, more and more cameras everywhere, smaller and smaller cameras.
Yes, everywhere.
I think France is recently, in the last couple of days, actually said they're rolling out a nationwide visual identity service.
Yeah, though they claim that it's only done on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like Apple puts my fingerprint into the lockbox and it stays there on the phone
forever.
I hope
forever.
So.
Exactly.
Forever would be. Well, forever is one problem, but sending it to the home server is another problem. So we have problems on both of those ends. And we're having the same thing in the United States. They're testing out facial recognition at the Las Vegas airport. A lovely old couple in front of me said, "Oh, darling, let's do it. Oh, now we're set. We don't have to have any trouble at the airport." And I was like, God, I just walked away. I didn't say anything. Of course, you wouldn't say anything at the airport, but
yeah, in Europe we have those cattle gates now.
Yeah.
You know, it's completely automatic border control.
Yep.
You walk through a line. You know, you present your passport to a computer. The computer looks at you, says, "Yeah, you're okay," you know, and lets you through. You know, and what does a cattle do? It goes through those lines. You know, so.
And with with masks, you're avoiding facial recognition. Do you see it's a problem that as the technology evolves, they can find other ways of fingerprinting you from a distance, like the way you walk or something like that?
Yeah, of course, there are more biometric attack vectors than just the face. The face is just the most widely spread thing. The second most widely spread is your fingers, which is why I never show my fingers into a camera from the other side. So
that reminds me of an interesting little throwaway line from Enemy of the State, a great surveillance type movie with Gene Hackman and Will Smith. And there's one point where they're watching everyone on the satellite, and they're like, "That guy never looks up." And they're mad at him because if he just looked up at the sun or whatever, boom, they got him.
Yeah.
And he's
but
trained.
There are people with neck issues. You know, they can't look up if they want to.
Yeah.
You know?
They're harder to track, those neck issues.
Exactly.
Develop a better system.
Yeah. I had these issues forever. Sure. So, but there's of course gait analysis. However, gait analysis is great if you know whom to look for. It's not that great if you have a very large database of people and you have to select from them. And it's relatively easy to defeat if you're a woman and Muslim. So the niqab and the long gown help a lot. And I think that skirts for men are in the future. And then what I personally hate most is heartbeat fingerprinting from a distance.
Oh.
So from a distance, yeah. There's a thing that has been tested for a few years in Mexico, and it has been published, I think, last year or this year even. That it's basically a laser-based system that measures the movement of your skin and of your chest, and deducts the heartbeat from that.
Wow.
And the heartbeat is actually very unique. Like there's like a complexity to the heartbeat.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
a cardiologist. I don't know the details.
Well, you'd have to be a yogi to change your heartbeat, or
Exactly.
to really get into
Exactly.
that at all.
Exactly.
No one has that training here. I mean,
Exactly. So it works from like 150 meters away,
wow.
and you don't even see it because it's just this little, infrared laser beam,
Sure.
touching you inappropriately, And I mean, there are of course countermeasures to it, but it gets more complicated and complicated. And in a way, I have to say, without condoning it, that those Hong Kong dudes and dudettes, of course,
Sure.
they have my sympathy for accidentally tearing down those technology towers. I mean, wish that would happen by accident much more here.
Another technology I saw that fascinated me and worried me at the same time was being able to detect what people are saying through microwave vibrations from a huge distance. And that's whoa, that just made me mind blown. Wow, this is getting scary. Through all sorts of barriers, not just lip reading. That's insane.
Yeah, it's funny because that technology has been around forever. Actually, it's the famous laser microphone that they put against your window to listen into your apartment.
Sure.
It's basically the same thing. And by now, a lot of this shit is becoming so cheap and so precise. The sensors are getting, the electronics and sensors and whatever are getting so much cheaper and smaller. But the other thing is, all this AI whatever stuff, helps so much in taking out the noise.
Yeah, previously unmanageable mountains of data. Oh, we can't do that. It's an encyclopedia. It's 5 encyclopedias.
Yes.
Now the computer can go through and it can find that needle in the haystack.
But
no problem.
It's not just the volume of data, but it's also differentiated between signal and noise. And like reducing noise with artificial intelligence, like machine learning, neural networks, whatever, whatever it's called today, blockchain. No, it's becoming so much better. It's kind of scary. In the past, there were so many things you couldn't filter out. You couldn't filter out the signal or the noise. And today, you have this TensorFlow, whatever shit that oh yeah, this is his voice. Let's see what he's saying. And then array microphones and all that stuff. I mean, there are billions flowing into surveillance technology, and they're really creative.
Well, and people at home think it's no problem because they have nothing to hide, but they're not thinking about it all the way to the end where they're tracking and monitoring and tracking and monitoring, and then everyone has something. And then also there's something about having privacy that makes you a human. I remember in 1984, the book, Winston has a giant television in his room, but there's kind of a niche in the corner where he can hide and he can write and he can be alone. And this is part of his respite from being watched and being judged by his neighbors and going to the 3 minutes hate. And just, he knows he's watched everywhere, but he has this little corner. And of course,
even that was fake.
Yeah, even that was fake. I know, even that was fake. But still, I hope that for us and for the normal people and for everyone, that there will be that secret corner, or at least we'll remember this idea and want it again and fight for it and get it back. Since, like you were saying earlier, privacy is more popular. People are using encryption, end-to-end encryption. But then on the other side too, Facebook, WhatsApp, they're rolling back the end-to-end encryption. The government is asking for backdoors, even publicly sometimes. I saw something recently that Facebook and Google will now officially be sharing data with the government for the first time ever. And I'm sure they did it before, but now officially. So I don't know what that's going to do.
Well, cross-border sharing is the new thing. So the U.S. Cloud Act and its European sister of hell is what's really scary, because the whole jurisdictional arbitrage game is going to be destroyed by those new international agreements. So it's crypto or die by now, so you can't trust on location anymore. Coming back to the privacy question, I think you're right, of course, that privacy is part of what makes us human and allows us to develop and to be ourselves, so to speak. And it's insanely important. I mean, just imagine you really have no privacy. that means you have to conform to the will of the masses all the time, you know, and I'm pretty sure the will of the masses doesn't go well most of the time, you know. So I mean,
Oh, and
seriously.
also you might disagree with it. You might want to
Yeah,
sing your own
exactly.
song. You might want to dance on your own or whatever. And none of that anymore, ever, 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 ever. Not at home. You know,
Yeah,
you run around naked at home. You live out in the world. No, you sing your songs at home. You dance. You do your art, whatever
yeah,
you want to do. It's very private to you.
yeah.
No. Now we're all watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine all those people singing in the shower, and that's live streamed now
Yeah.
on Spotify. You know, fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, no.
Shower streams. I
yeah,
listen
shower
because it's fun, and
Yeah.
I like to laugh
Damn,
at
it's
these
probably-
idiots in the
That
shower.
was probably a business
you know?
idea right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But,
well, yeah, exactly. Put it on.
but maybe the reason why people are the wider public and the wider world are kind of okay with privacy being breached, and this is something I've not thought about before, is because for many people are religious, and the idea they already grew up with the
Oh,
idea that God is watching them all the
You
time.
mean Santa Claus with his good and bad
Good and
list
bad
and naughty
I
and nice?
disagree.
Yeah.
I completely disagree
Yeah.
because I grew up religious as well,
Yeah.
and I still am religious,
Yes.
and I'm pro privacy because of my religion. That's a huge part of it, you know.
Oh, okay.
And there's a huge difference between the U.S. government or any other government and God.
Yeah.
You know, the one is like a bunch of fuckers,
Yeah.
and the other one is somebody we at least assume likes us.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
It's
huge difference.
also fallible or infallible.
Yes.
Any system made by man can have
Yes.
cracks, whereas
Yes.
maybe a more natural or
Yes.
religious system would be more
I
perfect.
thought Donald Trump loved everyone.
Yeah, and God doesn't have the tendency to come down, you know, and post my shit on Twitter. You know, so
There's a couple of accounts claiming
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they're just claiming it.
yeah, but it's infrequent enough to be not a huge threat. Okay.
He only comes down every once in a while.
Yeah.
Flood last time, fire next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At least you know what's happening then. You know, it's like pretty final then.
Yeah. Well, we're even seeing the privacy topic move into the political sphere. I know the president of the United States is having a lot of problems with his phone calls.
Yeah.
He's releasing some of them. Whistleblowers
Yeah.
heard other ones. And it seems like the ability to privately commit crimes for even the president is going away.
Yeah, that's troubling. I mean,
It's interesting which side you want to be
Yeah.
on it, right? Because at one side, certainly, if he's committing crimes in that office, I want him stopped. On the other side, maybe he should
It
have the
depends on the crime,
privacy
I
to
think.
commit the crimes. Yeah.
It's a question of the. I mean, let's just make sure that the office doesn't exist, you know. But I'm kind of disappointed by the NSA because they have a defensive mission as well,
yeah.
and they're kind of failing when it comes to Trump and a lot of other people.
As well as Brexit, it does seem like one side of the game is playing at a much higher level, winning
Yeah.
victory after victory, and the other side just can't seem to get it together. Because if we were attacked and all these things, if the people really found out and they understood about what the attacks were and how
Yeah.
complicated they were, you think there'd be a response, and then that would be a reason not to attack anyone like that anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas sadly, we're seeing more of it's open season,
Yes, it is.
and that's terrifying.
I
Yeah,
saw a
it
great
is.
meme this morning, which was it was imagine if you woke up and the people who get upset about their team losing got that upset about the government being corrupt.
Oh,
I know,
wishful thinking, dude.
Yeah.
Ralph Nader's been saying that for years, and so, people memorize sports statistics and follow their
Yeah.
teams, and he
Yeah.
wishes they would do the same for their politics or even their financial health. A lot
Yeah.
of people that are in the lower systems, lower classes or whatever, they want to keep it clean for the rich, because in America we have this dream that one day I'll be rich, so we need to keep those rules nice and loose. But the sad reality is that we might not be rich. We might be better off if we tightened up those rules and made them pay their fair share and these kind of
Nah,
things.
I don't think that there's a fair share in being robbed. You know, just make sure that everybody is robbed equally, and the percentage should be 0.
Sounds like Jesus here. Everyone
Yeah.
should be robbed equally. Maybe not, though, right? Yeah. So, what are you guys working on? Are you working on anything new? Tell the people about, or?
Oh well, nothing new so much. So yes, last year has been kind of hectic. We've done a lot at the Berlin Container TAZ.
Uh-huh.
Lots of new members and meetups and building stuff and whatever. So that was very hectic. Lots of work for Crypto Hippie. Um, also got involved in a new long-term project that is going to probably keep me occupied for the rest of my life.
That's a good thing or a bad thing?
That I guess remains to be seen. So, I hope it's a good thing.
Yeah, hopefully will.
So there's so much work recently. I mean, that's that's the result of so much work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know.
I think that there are quite a few nice things coming over the next 1 to 2 years, at least in my camp. And yeah, did a lot of research this year as well. Got back to my roots a little bit when it comes to pre-blockchain digital currencies and payment systems. Actually gonna give a talk about that today. Actually, what time is it?
It's 4:25.
Okay, I'm going to give a talk in 1.5 hours about that. So let's see how that goes.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's been my year.
And just going back to the you mentioned about the rolling back of the encrypted services. Do you see that as a threat to Crypto Hippie and other VPN services? Because if they're going after Facebook and these other services, then what's to say they're not going to go after a VPN service?
They most certainly will go after VPN services. We're under no illusion that it's a piece of cake what we do. I think a lot of providers in the field are a little bit cocky, and say, nothing will happen to us and whatever. But from day one, we had a multi-jurisdictional, multi-organization setup because of if we are running into troubles with one side, we wouldn't undermine the privacy of our clients.
Yeah.
So we have like 3 jurisdictions that you have to synchronize before you have any access to the data. So, and that is, I mean, it's in a way, it's not a real complete solution, of course, but it's us trying to stay both legal and protect the privacy of our clients without having to do any compromises. However, if the future goes really sour, we will have to consider becoming a little bit less legal.
Whatever
I guess.
Well,
I mean, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm kind of always tried to stay on the up and up, mostly kindish. So, because as a company, there are a lot of people involved.
Sure.
There are families behind it and all that stuff. You have responsibilities, and I had the SWAT team because of the company. I had the SWAT team in my house once, so it's not the nicest of all situations. Even if you can deal with it, what's with your family? It's an issue for them as well. So trying to keep events like that low frequency is a good goal, but in the end, it's either you do what you sell, and we sell privacy, hence we have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do it, we have to, it's probably better than to, I mean, if they could really, really force us one day, and I don't think they will, but should it ever come to the point where they can really force us to do things we don't want to do, then I guess I'm gonna become a carpenter.
That's it. Take the electronics away, live offline.
Yeah. It's there's a point to where you can go, and if you can't honor your promises when you sell a product, don't sell the product. So far we're managing, and it has been up and down, and some tough learning sessions and very unnice middle of the night encounters with people with badges. But so far we did well. We never had to give up any client. it really pays off to not have data. You know, that's like a
That's
awesome
the
way.
way to go. You just
So
don't save it, and then you don't have
don't
it.
save
They
it, then
ask
you
for
don't
it,
have
you
to
don't
give it.
have. Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree with that. No
And
logs.
I mean, sometimes policemen have an issue understanding that, you know, and then they want to make you collect the data, and then you explain to them how you cannot do that, and blah 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 blah. But in the end, it's the only way that helps. You know.
It's all systemic. You have to design it right from the first
Yes.
place.
Yeah.
The early choices you make could doom you
Oh yeah,
later.
they haunt you
Yeah,
forever.
All those
Yes,
kind of things.
exactly, exactly. I mean, we've been doing good. I mean, it's like 10 years or something that we are in existence now.
Hmm.
Never had to answer a warrant for data, like never give out data, since we didn't have any. Never had to follow a warrant to have a tapping order on somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost a few servers in between to police shopping, you know, but so far we managed to go through it. But that's not a guarantee for the future, you know. I mean, it could be any time that they change the law, and we're sitting there and say, "Hey, we have to shut down because we cannot follow this law." You know.
It's a lot like those warrant canaries. The warrant canary's there, then when it's gone, whoa, I don't know what happened, but it's gone now.
Yeah, though there's the issue with the warrant canaries, and that is, um, it's unclear how little they're able to compel you. So if they actually work is a good question.
Mm.
So, and personally, my point is, you know, build systems in a way that you cannot give away data.
Yes.
You know, because you don't have it. You know, that is what you want to do. You know, that's
that's
the
why
anti-warrant system.
I was so horrified to see Facebook and all these other systems built the way they were built. Originally, we had Unix protocols. We were building the internet. We had text. We could chat each other, all these things. But they were all system by system, server by server. Then they built the big Facebook, and everyone went in it. And I was like, but wait, any administrator, because I've administered things, will have access to that, and they'll mess with it, and they'll look at girls, and they'll look at whatever, because administrators are out of control. And even when I was an administrator, I needed to be watched. I need to be,
Let me do
a
little shout out to Yahoo Mail.
Yeah.
You know, that's been the case. Like a few days ago, a dude was caught, system administrator at Yahoo.
Yeah.
You know, basically collecting all those naked pics of his colleagues and friends, ex-friends, whatever. So, I mean, yeah, crypto, number one. Multi-party admin access, number two. Number three, don't store or generate any data that you don't really need.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the data that people generate today, you don't need. It's just relatively hard often to get rid of data that you don't need, because everything is built for, oh, let's produce another few bytes of logs.
Well, and everything in Facebook, get us more data, give us your city, give us more info. And
it's intentional.
The admin's looking at more and more data, and the other admin and the other admin and his girlfriend, and he's blackmailing this guy and all these things. I saw that from the beginning where, but everyone went in, and once they were in, we were all stuck and we couldn't get out. You wanted to see baby photos, you want to see vacations. You have to give up all your information to see baby photos and vacations. I heard someone describe Facebook as the best photo sharing platform ever, where we also gave up all our privacy to get photo sharing. It was like, we could have just built person-to-person photo sharing. You store it on your hard drive, put an encrypted copy on Friends.
Or go to 4chan and then you do it anonymously.
Yeah, you know? And just put the baby pictures there.
Yeah, yeah, but I think the big thing that social media platforms have really managed to excel in is to get us all hooked on some digital social cocaine. You know. And that's it. You know. I mean.
Well, they're so good
talk
at
to a
building
junkie,
it. So much
you know.
better,
I mean, oh, I don't have a clean needle anymore. Ah, who cares? You know. So it's the same thing, you know, with Facebook. We're all high on that shit, you know, and then
Twitter too.
It's not a clean needle. Oh, who cares? You know. So
VPN's taking too long to load. Just turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's right there.
It's the junkie approach to life. You know. Usually doesn't go that well.
Well, and they're so good at designing it and trapping us in. It's hard for us to get out. But we know, Smuggler, you have to go to your speech soon. But thank you for coming by. Really enjoyed the conversation. Where can people check your work out? Maybe cryptohippie.com.
Right.
Great VPN.
Select.cryptohippie.com, which is the newest version of our product. My personal website is opaque.link. I also work for anaplex.net. And that's it, yeah.
All right, and
Thanks,
keep
everyone.
wearing the mask and keep representing for privacy here. We appreciate it, man. So,
Awesome. Thanks very much.
thanks so much.
Cheers.
Thank you, man.
Same time next year.